Hello, everybody. I am live and I'm a couple minutes late, and I apologize for that. Um, when I go out to the barn, I've been connecting to my hotspot, and for some reason, I don't have access to my hotspot tonight. Um, so, yep, someone just asked, just went live. So, okay, there's six of y'all here. Well, as you log in, say hello, tell me who you are, where you from, what you doing. Roseberry Farms, hello. Old Bayou Homestead, howdy. Tubbs Army, howdy, howdy. Hatch and Hearth Homestead, Possum Valley Woodworks, Jeff, hello, hello. Olan, glad you're here. John, is that John? Nope, that is Felicia. Hello, Felicia. Victoria, Knotted Rush, hello. Possum Valley Woodworks from Podo, Oklahoma. Got the hometown crowd in there tonight. Cheryl, hello, hello. So anyway, normally I use my hotspot, and I have no hotspot, and I don't know why. Now, I will tell you, I've been fighting with Verizon all week long, and it has been miserable dealing with them and the heat and the everything. Mitchell, hello. Nope, Victoria, you are not late. We're just getting started. Marvin, howdy. David, hello from South Dakota. I do need to find out where my hotspot is, though, because that's also how I print. I connect my printer to my hotspot. And so I don't know where my hotspot went. But Verizon's got everything totally messed up. If you saw my video yesterday or day before, um, I think the title was Raising Poultry is Easier Than Raising Kids. And so I'm trying to figure out how to get like the Verizon Family app and all that sort of stuff set up. Well, when after Misty passed away, I transferred the phone number to my daughter's phone. Well, I didn't realize that transferring the phone number transferred the entire account over to my daughter. So my daughter's had like ownership of that account for the last year, which hasn't been that big of a deal, except I realized I needed more control over their cell phones, not just, location. And so I started dealing with Verizon, and I'm telling you, I've spent no less than 9 hours on the phone and talked to no less than 9 people. In fact, they're so confused over there. I talked to one guy. This guy opened up a ticket, and another guy sent me a message saying he opened up a ticket. And it's like, are y'all not even looking at what you're doing? So it has been a huge headache. And the people at Verizon, bless them, they've been really nice. I have not. I haven't been entirely unchristian yet, but I haven't been very pleasant either, because they're screwing everything up. And apparently now I have no hotspot on my phone, which is another mistake that they have made. So huge headache. Yes, dear. They're outside with their horses. One of them is washing Splash. One of them is putting Bones in the round pen.
Why does Bones need to be in the round pen?
Because he's skittish. He needs to be ridden like your horse does. You would think after that last rodeo where she brought home 3 checks in a weekend, she'd want to ride more. You would think that. But like, I'm on my Verizon app right now, and I can't even do anything with my own phone, because even though I took the death certificate down to the office and I showed them the death certificate, you would think they would just go click, okay, you're the owner. Oh no. Even though I didn't have any finance, I've paid it for all of my phones, totally, on my own. You would think, oh, they downgraded me. They downgraded me from the unlimited plus to the unlimited. So I have no I have no hotspot anymore. I mean, this has just been awful. And they're like, one person was like, "Oh, the app has to refresh and it'll take 24 to 48 hours." And then today they're like, "It will take 7 to 10 business days." Thank you. Well, which is it? 24 to 48 hours or 7 to 10 business days? Because where I live, those are not the same thing. Steve, you said your birds are not enjoying this heat. This heat has caused many of my birds to meet Jesus. Um, it's bad. I have lost a lot of birds. And one of my buddies brought me over this big floor fan yesterday, and it's plugged in and doing the best that it can. It's blowing, 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 but I mean it's just blowing hot air. So at least it's keeping the air circulating.
So I didn't round pin him. I followed him around the pasture until he let me just completely walk up to him and halter him. So I halted him, took it off, pet him, and told him to play.
Why didn't you walk him a little bit?
Because I was rewarding him for standing. I just walked around the pasture for 20 minutes following him. I was rewarding him for standing still and letting me halter him.
All right.
And then Cash followed me around the entire time.
I saw Cash following you around. I'm live right now.
Can I go to Rose's house?
No.
Why?
It's a school night.
So?
You're not. No. And it's also it's after 8 o'clock at night. You need to be in bed in an hour, not over at your friend's house. Not anymore.
Why?
Because. Do you want to have this conversation in front of my 34 closest friends?
Not necessarily.
Okay, then the answer is no.
Your 34 closest friends?
Yes, my 31 closest friends now. What?
What if I just closed your laptop?
You would regret it.
Would I?
Yeah, a lot.
Well, we'll see. I'm joking.
Bye, guys. I'm trying to do a live stream. You're not helping me.
You're not letting her.
So okay. So let's see who else is here. Hello from Texas. Hello, Christina. Hello, Pamela. Yes, Verizon's. It's crazy. It's like every time you call, it's almost like you're talking to a different family. How old are your baby quail before you quit putting blue towels in there? Okay, so my babies are on half by half hardware cloth, and I quit putting the paper towel after 1 week. They do fine after that. Occasionally, you'll have one stick their head down a hole or get a leg stuck, but by and large, at 1 week, they're fine. All right. Well, Steve, you're here to learn about my parenting style too. I muted it when my parenting style came out, since being pleasant wasn't. Let's see. Lizzie Lou. Howdy, howdy. Victoria said, I lost 130 quail. Your AC quit? Oh, yeah. And when you got home, it was 130 degrees in there. Hello from Vermont, Northern Lightfoot. I don't know if you placed an order from me, Northern Lightfoot, or not, but Vermont was the last state that I hadn't shipped to. I'd shipped to every state except Vermont until recently. So I don't know if that was you or not. That was you. Yay! You hit the 50th state on the map. Kim, hello. You cried all day. 256 adult and 200 chicks. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. All right. So while all of y'all are here, while there's a lot of y'all here, and lots of green clicks or green names in here. So if you see the green name and you're wondering what that is, basically it means that they have gone onto my YouTube channel and clicked the join button. When you click the join button, you become a member of my page. Now there's Quail Beginner, Quail Pro, and Quail Partner. 3 different levels. You can pick whichever level you want. You can become a member. And if you become a member, it enters you to win the Wynola Ranch Quail Cage giveaway every single month. You can also be a subscriber on Facebook and enter to win the Wynola Ranch Quail Cage giveaway. And if you're a subscriber on Facebook and a member on YouTube, then you're entered twice. Now, it's just another way that you guys can support me, support my farm, support my kids, help me feed my birds over the winter. It's a great thing. I appreciate it. It also encourages me to continue doing live streams, continue making content. Um, as much as I love you guys, this is work. It does take time, takes energy, takes effort, takes preparation. I don't always plan and prepare ahead of times, but a lot of times I do. And the video making, the editing, the content, the uploading and stuff like that. If you're seeing, 30 to 40, 50 minutes worth of content, that's, any 6, 8, 10 hours of filming plus, an extra 4 hours of editing for one video. So it is work for me. I do enjoy it. I enjoy talking to you guys, but the memberships are one way that you can help contribute back to all of the information, all of the content that I provide you. It's also a way to enter into the Wynola Ranch Quail Cage giveaway, which is my way of giving back to you guys for being members or subscribers over on Facebook. Now, this month of July got hectic, got crazy, and I didn't do a drawing. Did not do a drawing. Totally messed it up. My bad. My mistake. I realized it I don't know, August 9th or 10th, somebody goes, hey, you didn't do a giveaway. And I was like, oh, dang. Is it already August? So I have talked to my friends over at Wynola Ranch, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to make this better. To make up for July, we're doing 2 giveaways in August. So for the July giveaway, we're still giving away that large orange plastic poultry transport cage, great for chickens. We're also giving away another one of those smaller red poultry transport cages, perfect for quail. So we will have 2 giveaways, 2 items, 2 shipped to you if you win in the month of August. So that drawing will be August 31st, September 1st, somewhere along then. But you do have to become a member on YouTube or a subscriber on Facebook to be entered to win. So the bad news is I forgot to do July's giveaway. The good news is I'm making up for it by doing 2 giveaways or giving away 2 items in the month of August, thanks to our friends over at Wynola Ranch. So let me see. Howdy from East Texas. Howdy. Let's see. I am proud mama of 9 kids. Trust me, I know all about that kind of parenting. Man, and you know what the frustrating part is? Like, if they would just be good, it would be so much easier. And I've tried to tell them that. I'm like, if y'all just do what you're supposed to and don't do the things you're not supposed to, like, then I wouldn't have to go through your phones, and I wouldn't have to give you a curfew, and I wouldn't have to make you come home at a certain time. And I would, like, if y'all would just behave, my job would be so much easier. It just would. Let's see. What are those? Oh, your medicine? Okay. Tell your sister to get hers. Let's see. Did I get the rain today? Nope. I got a little bit last night. Nothing major.
We got rain today.
I did not hear.
On our way to Fort Smith, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but not here. We ran through about 3 minutes of rain earlier today. It wasn't nothing. Plus, we bug him with questions. Now, really, y'all don't bug me at all. So let me tell you my business model. This is my business model. This is what I decided I was going to do when I started this business. Now, if any of you guys have been to Florida or are from Florida, you know Publix. Publix grocery stores founded by George Jenkins. I actually went to George Jenkins High School. Um, Started off in Lakeland, Florida, back in the 1950s. Anyway, he carried on. Yeah, listen, I'll take some of that rain from Indiana. Y'all are drowning up there. Um, he created this grocery store like back in the 1950s, passed it on, family owned, that type of thing. And the grocery store was all based on customer service, right? We were taught that if a customer asked for a product, you walk them to the product. You don't point them to the aisle. We were taught that you bag the groceries, you take the groceries out to the car, you return the cart, you know, that type of thing. Um, you know, where shopping is a pleasure. That was the whole thing. Every register always had a bagger. If all of the bag boys were busy, then they would call the stock clerks up. If the part-time stock clerks, were too busy bagging, then they'd call the full-time stock clerks up. And then if the managers saw that there still weren't enough baggers or weren't enough cashiers, then the managers would open up a register and they'd start bagging groceries. And so customer service was a huge, huge deal with Publix. Totally, totally, totally customer service oriented. Then I went on to work for, actually, I worked for Kodak, but I have worked at Universal Studios Orlando. I have worked at Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. I have worked at Magic Kingdom. I have worked at Disney's California Adventure. And I opened the photography location for Disneyland. And at one point in my professional career, I was the highest volume single manager location in the entire Disney organization, including Tokyo, including Paris, including Florida. I was one manager in charge of about 120 employees, 5 assistant managers, and over $15 million in annual revenue. Now, that being said, it was my responsibility to make sure that I had a staff of over 120 people trained in providing people with magical experiences. And so that's what I did. Every single day that I went to work, I would go and find a little kid, typically a little girl, because we had the princesses out in front of the Aurora's castle when I was in charge of Disneyland. And so I would go and find a little girl, typically dressed up as Belle or dressed up as Ariel or whatever, or waiting in line, the first person in line to see the princesses. And I would take that whole family and we would go see Belle and Ariel and Aurora and the Little Mermaid. And we would do that whole magical experience thing. And even after I left Kodak, so Kodak failed to renew their corporate sponsorship with Disney in 2004. I knew which direction that was going, because if you don't play ball with Disney, Disney don't play ball with you. So I left Kodak in 2004. At the end of 2004, 2005, Disney figured out how they could take and process their own photographs. They kicked Kodak out. So I left at the right time. So I then went on to work for Family Dollar. Now, Family Dollar is not the most prestigious store in the world, but I still carried that customer service from Publix, from Disney, into my management career with Family Dollar. Retail management, I loved it. I was really, really good at it. I ended up a paramedic on accident, but nonetheless, I still really enjoyed my career in retail. Love retail. I'd go back to retail in a heartbeat. If it didn't eat up so much of your time. But truly, truly, truly enjoyed my retail management experience. And now when I go into retail stores, they're like, oh, we can't do that. I'm like, actually, you can, you just won't. You could do it. Like, you could do the right thing for your customer, but you won't. Like when your little digital coupons don't download and you're like, hey, I've got a coupon. They're like, I can't do anything for that. Well, you can. You can do a price override, but you won't. Anyway, so my customer service that I provide now is based off of the retail experience that I gained, mid 90s to early 2000s working for Publix and Disney. And that's the type of service that I continue to provide. That's one of the reasons that I do enjoy doing these live streams, is because it gives me the chance to interact with you guys personally, interact with you guys on a one-on-one basis. And truly, 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 I enjoy it. And I want to make sure that all of my customers have great experiences all the time. and I want you guys to be successful in what you do, right? So if I didn't do live streams, if I didn't produce content and all I did was sell eggs, if you had a bad hatch, you would think, well, he sold me bad eggs. Instead, what I do is I try to educate on incubating. I try to educate on hatching your eggs. I educate you on, creating the right ratios. I educate you on um, how to make sure that your incubator's got the right temperature, how it's got the right humidity, um, rotating the eggs during incubation, all of those sorts of things. And then that way, when you do buy eggs from me, you have a good hatch, you're happy, it's successful. You'll buy more eggs from me in the future. You'll tell people about me because word of mouth, hands down, is the single best form of advertising you can have. If y'all didn't hear from about me from somebody else, that's fantastic. But I know a lot of people that follow me were referrals either from people I know personally or from people that I've done business with in the past. So that's kind of my business model, and that's why I enjoy answering questions. So, how's that for a long-winded response? You got custody of your nephew, so you're getting a crash course in parenting. Oh, buddy, it's it's a mess. Which do you think is better, egg standing up or laying down on the turner? Um, so, Donald, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I know that, like, if you go out to my barn right now, I've got some of my fibromelanistic bantams sitting on their own eggs. None of them are point down. Okay. They're all laying on their side. That being said, everybody who's, studied this has seemed to find that having them point down when you're incubating, as opposed to allowing nature to do its thing, is the best method. And that's so that the air cell is up at the top. And, as good as we are at replicating the environment created by a mother hen or a mother chick or a mother quail or whatever, we're still taking nature out of it and doing it our way. Doing it our way, all of the studies that I've seen show that point down is the way to go. Now, I've locked down eggs after 7 days of incubation. They've not rotated at all and laid completely on their side, and I've had great hatches. So, and I know certain incubators, I think the Nurture Right is one, the Nurture Right 360, where you lay them on their side and it kind of rotates in that tray. I know people that have great hatches using that Nurture Right incubator. So I don't really have a preference. That's one of those things that kind of falls under the category of do what works best for you. If you like laying them on their side because that's more the way nature intended, do it. And as long as it works, great. If you start finding that maybe you're not having such a great hatch rate, try point down, see how that works. But either way, it's fine with me. It doesn't bother me one way or the other. Let's see. All I can say is pray, Felicia. Yeah, since she's got that new nephew to take care of. Lots of prayers. Lisa says, late, but I made it. The rain happened just south of us. You could hear the thunder. Yeah, we had some thunder last night. Every shower that we, I was filming maybe day before yesterday, and it rained really hard for about 30 seconds. I mean, we haven't had a rainstorm last more than 5 minutes. I drove through some rain earlier today. Excuse me. Taking my daughter to the orthodontist this morning, but we didn't have any meaningful rain whatsoever. Let's see. Hoping to incubate your own eggs in September. It's been a crazy run. Bad hatches, but you'll work out it. Yeah, you will. And I'm going through a rough spot right now, too. I have lost a lot of breeders due to the heat. A lot of breeders. Now, fortunately, I kind of saw it coming, and I'll have some breeders that will be 8 weeks old by first week of September, second week of September. But I probably have 40 or 50, 40, maybe 50 orders that I've got to fill that were placed before the heat came in. Well, obviously, before the heat came in, I was taking, 108 quantity of brown, 108 quantity of the jumbo mix, 72 of the Egyptian, 72 of the whites. And quite honestly, I don't have the birds to fill that size of an order right now. So there's a lot of people that I'm going to have to I'm going to call them up and say, hey, either I can give you different eggs, or I can hold your order for a while, or I'm going to have to give you a refund. Um, that's what I'm running into. And so I'll make those phone calls individually and personally and be like, tell me what you want me to do. You know, I'm, I'm not looking to keep somebody's money. If they can get eggs sooner from somebody else, then, by all means, they can get their eggs sooner from somebody else. But I have lost a ton, a ton of breeders. Um, Really like to fill the orders, I'm going to have to just kind of take eggs from everything, from the Egyptians, the Browns, the party box. In fact, today, my whites, what I have left of my whites, did a single egg. And because I didn't try, y'all remember a while back, I ordered, if you didn't see the video, it's called Buyer Beware. I ordered 240 eggs from a supplier, brought them, incubated them, had a good hatch rate. Definitely not complaining about the hatch rate, but not a single one of those jumbo whites made weight, and a lot of them even came out with color. A lot too much color to be part of my breeding program. So, it's just been rough, and I don't know. I don't know that I could have done anything different. Some of the breeders that have passed away, in fact, all of the breeders were part of that old barn where I had the mold problem. So it could be some of the mold issues catching up with them. But all in all, I really think it's the heat. I think the heat's the biggest problem. Um, Certainly, mold could be a part of it, but I've rectified that. I did. The great thing is, I didn't lose a single quail chick at all today. There wasn't a single dead one. I think out of the last 250 chicks I've incubated, I maybe have lost five. So moving the chicks out of the old barn into the new barn, the grow outs, and the brooders, moving those into the new barn has been hugely beneficial. Um, I haven't maxed out capacity in my brooders yet. I have another hatch happening, I think, on the 23rd. And so I'll fill up the rest of the brooders on the 23rd. Then I'll have another hatch a week after that, another hatch a week after that. And then I'll be able to start kind of moving and sorting the birds a little bit better. Is there a difference between a small incubator heater versus a heater with a fan for hatching? So they have still air incubation, they have forced air incubation. Um, Forced air incubators are what most people recommend. It's really mostly what's available out there now. Um, but the big difference in terms of the heaters is going to be the size of the heater for the um, for the incubator itself. Most are going to be forced air. You can still get still air, but let's see. You have a daughter getting braces. Yeah, I have two daughters with. They're doing the Invisalign right now. I have two daughters getting Invisalign. Would a mister and a fan be okay, or would it make them sick? You know what? I've actually used misters in the past. So like 15 of y'all disappeared. Am I still coming through clear? Nobody said anything yet, but like I lost 15 people all of a sudden. We were up to like 40 viewers, and now I'm down to 25. Um, when my birds were all in outside cages, I used to go out there every day, hose off the top of their cage, and then I would stand there with the mister, and they would come and put their heads up to the back of the cage. I think a mister is probably a good idea, to be honest with you. Do, 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 do. You're not going to be able to get pickled eggs. You had an expense you didn't see coming. I hate it when that happens. I've had a few of those myself. You're going to be quiet now. Why? Why would you be quiet? Andrew, howdy. Glad you're here. John, good. Glad you can hear me. So, anyway, I was looking at a map, and it's like all but 2 states have had triple digits so far this year. Um, and the problem I think for us is, we tend to, we're 12 degrees, 13 degrees above normal right now. So typically this time of year, we'd be 91, 92, 93, and we've been 104, 105, 106. And that has been sustained for pretty well the last 6 weeks. And I was looking at my weather app, and like the coolest high temperature we're going to have is like 99 degrees through the 4th of September. Like, I have no control over that whatsoever. And the effect that it's having on the birds. And I've done the electrolytes, and the electrolytes seem to help for a little bit, and then birds started falling off again. And then I do the electrolytes, and the electrolytes seem to work, and then the birds would start falling out again. So I don't know what the answer is. I've got that big fan out in the barn now, on top of the 3 ceiling fans that are out there. It's just rough. What age do I typically weigh the birds? Okay, so Kim, jumbo is considered 10 ounces at 10 weeks. Okay. I want my jumbos to be really jumbo. Okay. I want my big birds to be really big. So I prefer to weigh them at 8 weeks. Now, I would say at 8 weeks, 75% of my hens are 10 ounces, and 50% of my roosters are 10 ounces. Okay. So that way, I know when they're done growing at 10 weeks that they're probably going to be 11 and a half to 12, 12 and a half, maybe 13 ounces. However, you can wait until 10 weeks to weigh. I don't, because I just don't feel like the additional amount of weight that they put on between those 8 and 10 weeks is worth the feed that I pour into them. Now, when I'm good on breeders, when I'm great on breeders, which I will be by next spring, 8 weeks is my cutoff. If they don't make weight by 8 weeks, they don't go into my breeding program. Right now, because I need breeders, I'm going to give them the full 10 weeks, and I will fill my cage based off the full 10 weeks. And then as long as 10 ounces at 10 weeks, you're still jumbo, right? So, but that's just to beef up my breeding program. Once I get that breeding program back up to where it needs to be, then it's going to be 8 weeks. And that's how I'll figure it out. My party box are doing pretty good. Olan as a whole, I've had some mortality there too, but they've suffered some as well. It just so happens that I actually had more party box birds before all of this started than I had anything else. So out of them all, the party box birds are still laying the best. But even still, production's like half of what it should be, just purely because of the heat. And then you factor the mortality into that, and it's even worse. So what else you guys got? What are y'all thinking? My chickens are doing good. My chickens are, I mean, you're always going to lose one bird here and one bird there, that type of thing. But I've got 2 pens of grow outs right now with my chickens, and they seem to be doing really good. So I'm happy with that. And I've got some more chickens over in the brooders that are growing out right now. I don't sell chicken eggs. Those are more just for me to sell at the poultry swap or for me to have around the house. I like the pest control for sure. So what else? What other questions do y'all have for me tonight? All right. Tomorrow is Friday, and I'm excited about Friday. Let's see. You were thinking of getting some red bourbon turkeys. They are pretty. You know what? Two of mine snuck out. Like, so the pins are built the appropriate way, but it's at an old house. So if this is the wall, they've been able to burrow underneath the foundation, and so they can go around the uh, the posts where the netting is. And two of the turkeys got out. How they died, who knows? It looks like, maybe they got sat on or squished or something like that. Like, they're fine one day and gone the next. So I've only got one of my turkeys left, and that turkey, based off what I paid for them eggs, is worth about $150 right now. So I am going to try to hatch some more bourbon red turkeys though. Wasn't overly thrilled with my hatch rate from the last time. It was getting a little bit hotter that time of year when I brought them in, so I'll blame the heat. I'm not going to blame the people I bought them from, but I only got 3 out of 13 to hatch, so not the best hatch rate. I was hoping to get 6, but 2 of them ended up dying on me. Starting out, would you use all birds you hatch out? For example, the white hen that you showed me, is that, let's see, for example, that white hen that I showed you, it's like from that breeder. Um, so my party pin actually ended up being kind of like the birds I started with. So when I first got into quail, I thought people would want color because they're pretty, right? And I like the pretty birds. My favorite birds are the Egyptians or the Fab Fee or the Pearl Fee or pansies are pretty. Like there's a whole lot of different pretty quail, and so I thought that everybody would want colors. So that's kind of what I went for, and sold a lot of those hatching eggs for sure. But as I started bringing in birds for size, like jumbo browns, jumbo Egyptians. What the reason that I brought in the jumbos is I had a lot of people asking for them. They wanted jumbos. Well, the only way for me to know that they were jumbo, because initially I bought all adult birds, right? Or I'd bought a handful of chicks and raised them up, but I didn't know anything about quail at the time. And so I wasn't weighing them. I was just waiting 8 weeks and putting them into breeding pens. So once I figured out what a jumbo was and how to decide what the jumbo was, um, I actually ordered my first few batches of jumbo eggs, and started that way. And then I started weighing, and all of the birds that I had that were either colored or didn't make weight or whatever the case was, I put those into my mixed flock, and that was my party box. Um, but initially, everything I had was a breeder, you know. And all I was I was just selling quail eggs. I wasn't selling jumbos. I wasn't selling a particular color or particular variety. I was just selling Coturnix quail, and I was selling hatching eggs. So, and then as people started saying um, that they needed a certain type or a certain size or whatever the case was, that's when I started breeding for that. I'm getting text messages as we talk. So, how you decide to start is entirely up to you. If you want to breed for jumbos, I would start by getting jumbo eggs, weighing the birds at 8 to 10 weeks, and growing out your flock that way. That's what I would do. Let's see. Hard to hatch turkey eggs. Yeah, I've heard that. I've only tried to hatch turkey eggs like maybe twice. So I'll try it again. Your birds will be 6 weeks in the first of September. With this heat, will it delay laying? Kim, I think it probably will. I got a message. Uh, birds transitioned them over to the layer feed yet. No eggs. Hadn't laid a single egg yet. So um, I think that the heat is probably playing a difference. Good thing is Marshfield will be 20 degrees cooler than Northwest Oklahoma. Boy, I sure hope so. I sure hope so. Okay, didn't stay going long. Welcome back. In your party box, do you put jumbos in there? I do sometimes. So a lot of times, like if they're okay, so what I'll do is I will take the jumbo birds. If there's any type of defect whatsoever with them, if they have a long beak, if they've got something wrong with their foot, if there's something wrong with their conformation, if there's something wrong with their color, if they've got a cross beak, anything like that, those birds will go into an egg laying pen only. So they're all eggs. Those eggs I use either A to feed my family or B to pickle and sell. That's all there's no roosters in that pen at all. So any bird that hatches that does not meet my breed standard for one reason or another goes into the egg laying pen. That being said, I will add jumbo browns, jumbo Egyptians, jumbo whites over into the party box pen if they don't make weight when I'm weighing out my jumbo birds. Now, a lot of times I'll put them in there at 8 weeks. So by 10 weeks, they may in fact be jumbo birds, but when I put them in there, they were not. So you can get jumbos out of my party box, but the vast majority are not going to be jumbos. So anyway, back to Knotted Rush, your question. My recommendation is to start the way you want to finish, right? So if you're wanting meat and eggs and you're wanting jumbos, I would immediately start breeding for jumbos. You'll be where you want to be pretty much in 2 months, right? Now you'll want to grow after that first 2 months, but that's totally where I would start. I wouldn't just be throwing random birds in, and hoping for the best. You can do a party pen like I did and take those to your poultry swaps and all that sort of stuff. Um, but yikes. But for me, the party pen is more something fun to do, and the colors and all that. But that's, I didn't know what I was doing when I first started. So I would do things a little bit differently this time. I mean, I can't really complain because things have worked out well for me. Um, but it was rough getting started the way that I did. But again, I didn't know anything. I just bought a bunch of quail and called myself a quail farmer. You know what I mean? Like I bought the quail and then I'm like, all right, what do you do with these guys? I guess I'll figure it out. That was kind of how that worked. Oh yeah, you created a monster. Your dogs do not like your new friend. You haven't named her yet. Not really wanting to. You don't have to name them. So What else, guys? What's on your mind? Yeah, Lisa, when I first started, I didn't know anything about it, and so I am a complete and total nerd. I'm not kidding you guys when I tell you I have a folder full of peer-reviewed academic research on Japanese japonica, which apparently is what Coturnix quail are called. So I actually went onto my college academic database and went and did a bunch of research, pulled all the research papers, learned some really great stuff about quail nutrition and about the health benefits of quail and stuff like that. Then I watched a whole bunch of different creators and content creators and stuff like that. And so, like, my style as a paramedic is not my style. Okay. When I became a paramedic, I worked with a lot of different medics going through my clinical rotations and working at the hospital and things like that. And I would watch a paramedic and go, I like that. I'm going to do that. I don't like that. I'm not going to do that. So my style as a paramedic is a combination of I like that from several different paramedics, and I don't like that from several different paramedics. And that's really what my homesteading and farming journey has been too, because I don't want to say I obsess, but I probably obsess. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know everything. If you guys come to me with a question, I want to be able to answer that question. The only question that I got to wipe my screen. It looks like I got a dadgum freckle on my nose. The only thing that I'm not concerned about, that I just don't care about, that I'm not going to put any effort into learning is quail genetics. I do not care. Um, I've done enough science classes. I've done enough research. I could figure it out relatively quickly and fairly easily. And there are some things that you need to know, right? Like the celadon gene creates the blue eggs. Uh, the Egyptian carries a roux gene. The what is it? The Fab Phi is like a dilute gene. Like there are things that you've got to understand very superficially genetics wise, um, but you don't have to understand all of it. I'm not trying to create a new color, right? So the genetics don't matter. Um, One of the things that frustrates me, actually, I'm about to go off on a tangent. Y'all don't go anywhere because there's another thing that frustrates me. But one of the main things that frustrates me is that people will create a color and then they'll sell this color, but the problem is you can't reproduce that color, right? So you get a pied splash fee rue amber, and you're like, yay, pied splash fee rue amber. And then you take your pyra pie whatever splash fee rue amber, and you breed it to another pied splash fee rue amber, and you don't get that same bird. It goes back to the heritage breeds. And so there are a lot of people who are breeding colors that you can't reproduce because they've more or less created it. So genetically, when you breed those birds back to each other, you're going to end up with whatever, the parentage was, as opposed to more of that particular bird. I don't really like that. You know, if I breed a brown to a brown, I want to get a brown. If I breed an Egyptian to an Egyptian, I want to get an Egyptian. So if I have a pie splash fee rue amber and I breed it to another pie splash fee rue amber, that's what I want to get. So I'm not going to tinker genetics too much. Like, if nature didn't make it, I don't want it. Because if nature didn't make it, you're not going to be able to reproduce it. So I don't care about the genetics, but I do care about everything else quail wise. I care about quail nutrition. I care about quail housing. I care about quail temperament. I care about quail, composition. I care about their lifespan. I care about I care about the protein. I care about the calcium. I care about all that stuff. And those are the types of things that I pass on to you, because let's face it, most of us aren't going to be in the barn like little mad scientists trying to create a new breed of quail, you know. So I don't waste my time doing that. Let me look at the comments real quick. Steve calls all his Judd's quail. It's funny you say that, because I was watching Eddie Family Farm. Now, Brandon and I are buddies. We talk on the phone, every couple of weeks anyway. Talked to him earlier today. And I was watching one of his videos, and he was saying, well, I'm going to take these quail and I'm keeping these separate from Judd's. And so when he called me today, I'm like, hey, I saw this video and you said you were going to keep all your birds, separate from Judd's. I was like, what is it that you're doing with your quail? And he goes, oh man, he goes, your birds are twice as big as these others. He said, they're twice as big as these others. So I'm not mixing any of these in with yours. He said, eventually this line of quail, I'm just going to get rid of completely. And I'm only going to be breeding your quail because they're so much bigger. So that was cool. I thought that was a pretty awesome compliment. All right. Knack and Dode. Knack and Dode. Finally made it to a live stream. Well, I'm glad you're here. I am glad you're here. I'm going to go off on my tangent here in just a second, because this is a good one. Not a rush. You have everything jumbo. She is jumbo white, showing a lot of Pharaoh. So she is with a Pharaoh rooster. And honestly, it'll produce a brown. So here's let's delineate here. So Pharaoh, technically speaking, is a clean brown. Okay. And what I mean by clean brown is there's absolutely nothing else in it. Problem is, no matter who you buy from, it's almost impossible without some type of genetic testing, which some breeders have gone and gotten genetic testing. So I'm not saying they haven't, but it's almost impossible to know that it's a true Pharaoh, because that brown is a dominant gene. So you could breed a brown to a white and breed their offspring back to a brown, and it's going to be brown. However, it's not going to be clean Pharaoh, right? So I don't use the term Pharaoh simply because it delineates a clean brown. Now, are most of mine clean Pharaoh? Probably. I've never bred anything out of a Pharaoh that wasn't a Pharaoh. Never. I've never bred a Pharaoh. Now, I have had some white wings come out of some of my jumbo browns, but that's why I call them jumbo browns. So jumbo brown, jumbo wild, and Pharaoh are terms that are interchangeable. Jumbo wild is, what some people choose to call theirs. I just call them jumbo browns. Pharaoh delineates clean, but that kind of muddies the waters. So that's just one quick delineation. Jordan just got out of football practice. Well, good. You made it just in time, because I'm about to get amped up. Let's see. You're hoping for some tuxedo out. That'd be cool. I'm glad you like genetics. Again, I've worked in medicine for a long time. I've taken a lot of science classes. I just don't care. I really don't. So it's good that people do like genetics, though. I mean, that's a good thing. I am just not one of those people. How often should you mix in? So inbreeding, it depends on the size of your flock, right? If you've got one rooster and 5 hens and you keep breeding and breeding and breeding and breeding, that's obviously at some point going to become an issue. Couple things to keep in mind. Number one, quail are not mammals. Okay. So the same rules that apply to mammals don't apply here. And birds practice selective breeding in the cages similar to the way they would in the wild, right? If a bird senses that another bird is not going to be a good mate, they're not going to mate. That being said, like when you have a large breeding program like I do, the odds of there being any inbreeding is virtually zero. Like I mathed it out one time, and the odds of there being any inbreeding based off the number of hens and the number of roosters and all that, for me, is like 1 in 250 or 265,000 or something like that. So like it's just not going to happen. In a smaller breeding program, that is possible. The big thing is if you only have 5, 10, 15 birds, maybe try to separate them, maybe tag the feet, something along those lines. And then eventually, it's not going to be a concern for you either because you'll have enough birds. Otherwise, I would definitely say maybe once a year bring in new blood, something like that. I bring in, new blood into my flock frequently just because like this year I got so busy that I wasn't able to hatch my own eggs. So I was buying eggs from Aaron, and I got eggs from Emily at Five Little Quail, and that is very pink.
Right.
And then I brought in.
Ask them if they want to see.
Y'all want to see my daughter's hair? She dyed it tonight. Y'all want to see it? Hang on.
Show them how pink it is. I'm a unicorn. See.
She said I'm a unicorn. Look at that. Nice and pink.
Show them this too. Sorry, I'm proud of it.
Oh, and she's doing her folder. She's drawing on her folder for what class is this?
English 3.
English 3. There's her quote. I'll read the quote to you because I don't know if it's mirrored or not. Before you ask which way to go, remember where you've been. So, all right.
You read like one of those overachievers.
So, I am going to tell you guys something. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this. Like, I don't comment in Katernik's Corner. I don't comment in Quail Talk that often. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you. I've got over 40-some thousand people in the Quail Talk group. Katernik's Corner is a different group set up by a different person that changed ownership to a different person. I've got over 31,000 people on the Judd's Quail Facebook page. I'm around 1,400 people here, 5,500 in TikTok. I don't know how many on Instagram, not many. I don't have time to keep up with all of the groups and all of the stuff that's going on. I try. But for some reason, when there is drama, I get to see it. And it fascinates me, the amount of drama that I see in quail groups. Now, I want to start off by saying I don't have anything. Are those good?
Apples.
Good. Good. I'm glad you like them. I bought those so y'all could have them to take for lunch too. I mean, you can obviously eat them here, but I got those and those oranges for your lunches. So,
and they're not too big. I hate getting big apples.
Let's see. Pink hair of any color is against policy at one of your grandchildren's schools. Yeah.
What? Oh.
We've only got like, I think their graduating class was 35 or 40 people last year. They're not too particular.
Our class is 43 people.
Oh, she's got a big class. There's 43 of them. So huge. Now, the other school they went to, there was like 13 in their class.
6.
So there were 6 in your grade?
6 of us. We only made up 2 of us.
The graduating class at the other school was 6 people. My kids made up 1/3 of that graduating class.
They were good apples.
So anyway, the drama somehow ends up on my feet, and it's funny to me because I sit here and I'm fascinated, and it's funny because you will see like an alliance at one point in time, and then like a year later, these people will be fighting with each other. So I'll give you for example. Couple of years ago, there was someone getting absolutely lambasted in one of the quail groups. And as it turns out, that person, who was a fairly large breeder, had been kicked out of that quail group for whatever reason. Well, the person that kicked her out decided to let her back in so that she could respond to the person making the accusations. And she did. And the response, like, she should have hired a PR firm or a crisis management firm, because the response actually generated more traction than the original negative comment did. The problem was, is the response was didn't do that breeder any favors at all. So I just sat back and watched. And then they tried to drag me into it about 3 years ago. So somebody uh, ordered eggs for me when I was first starting off. I shipped them eggs. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, right? No idea what I was doing. And my order got to this person's house, and they went on Facebook and just absolutely lambasted me. These eggs, there's too much size variability. These are too big. And these are too small. Blah 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 blah. So I read the post. Of course, I knew that person had ordered eggs from me, and I'm like, this is not good for business, considering it's the first order I've ever shipped. So, so I sent her a message. I said, look, I saw your post. You said what you said. Leave my name out of it. If you're not happy, if you don't get a 50% hatch rate, I will give you a full refund. Well, she wrote me back in a couple of weeks, and she's like, just wanted to let you know I only had a 30-something% hatch rate. Bam. I didn't say anything. I just went away and gave her a refund. And she's like, I didn't ask you to give me a refund. I was like, nope, no, ma'am. You already went online and you slammed me, and I'm not going to let you do that again. So if you do go online and you do try to slam me again, I'll be happy to point out that A, you were the first order I ever shipped, and B, you got a full refund on your order. Well, that person and this person were connected, okay, at one point in time. And then somebody posted, hey, I talked to this person for all of my quail questions. This person went onto that comment thread and did a laughy emoji. Don't know why. These are all quail people who all interact with each other. We're all in different groups together, that sort of stuff. But then another guy screenshots that, posted on his Facebook, and it's like, there's no room for bullies. And I'm like, dog, you ain't been around quail very long, have you? These people just absolutely beat each other up. They form alliances, they form friendships, they get in some sort of tiff, then they go on Facebook and blast each other. And y'all, I don't have time for that. Like, that is way too much energy for me, way too much effort. I'm not going to get involved in that garbage. Bottom line is, if someone doesn't like me, someone doesn't want to do business with me, they don't have to do business with me. I'm not going to say anything bad about you. Just please don't say anything bad about me. You know, but there's so much drama in the quail world. It is absolutely ridiculous. So it needs to be avoided. Personally, I find it entertaining, because a lot of these people I know personally, a lot of these people I like. you know, there's really only one person in the entire like quail industry that I don't like personally. Now there are others that I like them personally, but no, I would not do business with them for one reason or another. Um, but there's only one person that's ever really, really been ugly to me, and I won't put up with that. Um, I was invited. Keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes out on my Facebook page. Keep your eyes out on YouTube videos and stuff like that. I was invited to speak at Quail Mania. I think it's going to be an online event, and they are selling tickets to it, but it's going to have a whole bunch of speakers. You're going to have access to all of these different speakers who are going to be speaking on a whole bunch of different topics, some of which I see Pamela says she's fascinated by genetics. I think some of them are going to cover the topic of genetics in there. And so, that might be something that you're interested in joining in. But I'm going to get to give a speech, and basically my speech is going to be my story, how I got started in quail, why I do what I do, you know, it's going to be from the beginning. It's going to talk about my life, my family, my wife, my kids, my business, and hopefully my story encourages and motivates other people to pursue their dreams, their passion, their goals, whatever those may be. Certainly doesn't have to be quail. My story can motivate other people to. It could be dog breeding, bunny breeding, chicken breeding, homesteading, farming, gardening, career wise, whatever it is. I just hope that my story encourages and motivates other people to, always put God first and to always just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Um, Sometimes you step in the mud, sometimes you got to step in the mud and walk through it for a while, but eventually you come through it. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that people can apply the principles that I've applied in my life to make their life a little bit better. Let's see. You were shocked her hair is naturally dark except one red streak, and she got sent home last week. Yeah, it's funny. The schools are funny about some of that stuff. I don't like school uniforms. In fact, I absolutely hate school uniforms because one kid goes missing, and you're like, "Hey, my kid's wearing a red shirt and khaki shorts." Yeah, so are 800 other kids. Help me out here, you know. Um, oh, it's a boy. Okay, well, with brown hair. Okay, that drops it down to like 400 kids, right? Um, so I don't like school uniforms at all. Period. Because I think it's a safety reason. The other reason is I can't stand the fact that the government says, "Hey, you got to send your kids to this school, or we're going to put you in jail." Oh, and by the way, they've got to wear these clothes, or we're going to kick them out of school, and they've got to buy these clothes from this vendor, uh, and so this vendor gives our school board a kickback. Like, I don't like it. Like, I don't personally. I think educating children is the responsibility of the parents. Big fan of homeschool. If you want to send your kids to public school, my kids are in public school, but it's my responsibility to raise my kids, not the schools. So some of the schools have taken it way, way, way too far with the uniforms and stuff like that. Sometimes I think their school is a little bit too lax. But I remember we weren't allowed to have like beer or alcohol or drugs or any of that sort of stuff. You'd see kids walking around the halls, when I was in high school with their shirts turned inside out or whatever. But, on the other hand, some of that's just a fad too. Kids, whatever, they want to push the limits, they want to push the boundaries, they're going to. I mean, you don't see a whole lot of adults walking around with inappropriate stuff on their shirts. Certainly you see some, but by and large, my my daughter was saying something the other day about like emo being her vibe, and it's like, what do you mean emo is your like? Are you nuts? Like, and I asked her, I was like, how many adults do you see walking around like with an emo vibe? And she's like, none. I'm like, right, because it's weird. Like, it may be fun, it may be cool or whatever when you're in high school, but like as you enter adulthood, people just don't do that. So anyway, let's see. Kevin, did I make my announcement yet? Yes, I did, but I'll tell you again, Kevin. Um, I didn't do a Wynola Ranch quail cage giveaway in July. I screwed up. July moved by too fast. I forgot. So I talked to my friends at Wynola Ranch, and to make up for that, we're doing two giveaways in August. We're going to do the big orange poultry transport cage that I've been showing you guys, and we're also going to do the smaller uh, quail or poultry transport cage, the red one. So we got two poultry transport cages to give away, and we're going to do both of those in August. So it's going to be for subscribers on my Facebook page or people who click the join button and become members on YouTube. So that is the big announcement.
You would not believe your eyes.
You think the tickets are $50 and it's online and you can go back to it. Yeah, it's so it's done by Jennifer Bryant from Bryant's Roost and Carrie Blackman. I think they're the ones that do the Poultry Nerds podcast, and I believe that I think the tickets are $50. I'm making that up. I could be totally wrong, but if it's a $50 deal and it's online and all that, and you have access, you'll be able to go in and watch at your convenience and things like that. So I'm not 100% on the details. I read one email, wrote my speech, and I'm supposed to record that at some point. I think I'm supposed to be done recording it in September, but I don't even remember. I did write some more in my book though. I wrote a little bit in my book last week. I don't remember what I wrote, but I know I wrote it. So let's see. Mata 7374. I got my quail before I found your channel. I got white ones from someone else. They have the same brown on the back as yours. No aggression yet. Only 4 weeks old. The aggression didn't come out on mine until they reached like sexual maturity. So about 8 weeks was when mine started getting aggressive towards each other. Um, I'm regrowing my white line right now. Whites were probably, I had fewer whites than anything else. I had more browns and more Egyptians than I did whites. And the whites, um, have just absolutely been impacted significantly by the heat. So my white flock is down to hardly anything. So I'm growing that back out as quickly as I can, as many as I can, as fast as I can. But in all honesty, I'm probably going to have to get in touch with Emily and get some whites off of her, because my flock has absolutely taken a massive hit. Sustained temperatures, triple digits, for it'll be 2 months before the temperatures break. And even then, the temperatures are showing breaking at like 99 degrees. Now, that being said, we do have the GFS weather model showing sustained heavy temperatures for a long time. And then we've got the European weather model showing that we've got a cold front that may be moving in towards the end of the month. So let's see. Time for bed. You're old. Have a great night. Steve, glad you were here, pal. Can you make a PDF of pictures of with their names? Um, Probably. But it's a little bit difficult, Victoria, and one of the reasons is um, different breeders call their birds different things, right? So a lot of the white birds, you'll hear people say that they're Texas A&M. Texas A&M is not a thing. Um, to my knowledge, there may be exactly one person in the United States that actually has a pure Texas A&M line. But Texas A&M was a project done by Texas A&M University many, many, many years ago. When the researcher retired, the research stopped. You'll also hear the jumbo whites called, so you'll hear them called jumbo whites, English whites, dotted whites, or Texas A&M, right? Then you'll have like a pied something or other, or a splash something or other. You've got colors that aren't really colors so much as they are combinations of colors, right? And this is what I was talking about earlier. You'll have people create a combination of colors, but when you breed those birds back to each other, it doesn't produce that same color again. So that's not really a breed or a color. That's a mutt. It's a pretty mutt, but it's a mutt. Um, then you've got um, what else? Then you've got, like I talked about on the pharaohs earlier. You've got pharaohs, which can be called jumbo wild, which can be called jumbo brown, or which can be called jumbo brown. So a lot of times there's three different names for every single bird, and it gets complicated again because each breeder may call their bird something a little bit different. Um, there's not in quail, and there are pros and cons. One of the pros with quail is there's not a lot of regulation like there is in chickens, right? Um, the beauty of that is it gives us as individual breeders a lot more freedom to do whatever we want to do. You know, if you've got a bird that has like a brown stripe underneath, it's looks like a beard, and you want to call it a Hank Williams because it's got like the beard, brown feathers right here, and you can call it, this is my Hank Williams bird. Hey, it's your bird. You can call it Hank Williams if you want to. On the other hand, because there's not that standardization, because breed standards haven't really been created, and people have tried. I have seen in just the few years that I've been doing this, which going on 4 years now, I have seen several quail organizations come, several quail organizations go. I've seen infighting in some of these quail orders. So there's a group called the American Coturnix Breeders Association. I actually left that group because there was a lot of infighting, and I didn't want to be a part of that. Um, I want to like everybody. I want everyone to like me. So I just got out of the drama. Yes, dear.
I was followed by a cop all the way from work, all the way till I turned on.
Did you put that tag on your car?
No.
Go outside and do it now.
Yeah.
Go outside and do it now.
That's what I was thinking about.
I gave her the license plate for her car like 10 days ago. She's been driving around on an expired plate since the 10th. So
yeah, and this cop followed me.
Go put the tag on your plate.
How?
Just go look. It's screws, baby. You know how to use a screwdriver. Anyway, so the American Coturnix Breeders Association, a lot of good people, a lot of people I like, a lot of people I know, a lot of people I've talked to, a lot of infighting, didn't want to be a part of it. So I left that. I've run into a lot of different people at, different conventions, different whatever. Bottom line is, you run your business the way you want to run your business. I'm still going to be your friend. I'm still going to like you. I don't consider you competition. Because quite frankly, I can't fill all the orders that I have, right? So you're more, Emily is not my competition. Emily is my friend. I'm backed up 40 or 50 orders right now. If you need eggs quicker, you need eggs sooner, order from Emily. She's up in Washington State. It's cooler there. She might be able to ship to you when I cannot, but some of these people get really into it, and I don't have time for that. So trying to decide. Oh, that was actually a fight between two breeders earlier this year. One breeder sold another breeder some eggs. This breeder produced those eggs, reproduced those birds, and started selling that same line. This breeder got mad at this breeder for producing a line that she produced. Okay. There was actually, here's another good fight. This was a funny one. One breeder got mad at another breeder for not giving him credit for his birds. Another breeder said, if you reproduce my birds, don't claim that you got them from me, because they're now your birds, not mine. You selected breeders that I wouldn't have selected. You've reproduced birds that I wouldn't have reproduced. You may have, this is now your line of birds. So they can't even decide on, should I give credit? Should I not give credit? Look, if I sell you my birds and you like my birds and you want to reproduce my birds and you want to say, these are Judd's Quail's birds, great. Thank you. Right? If you get my birds and you mix them with another birds and another breeder's birds and you want to call those your line, great. It's your line. Like, it doesn't matter to me one way or the other, but I mean, I've seen people, good night almighty, and then the personal attacks start, right? When they can't form like a logical argument, then it's just personal attacks. You're stupid. No, you're stupid. No, you're stupid. No, you're stupid. We're not friends anymore. I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. Um, that's just the way it happens. So Emily, you haven't missed anything. I'm just fussing about the drama. I'm just fussing about the drama, the drama, the drama, the drama, the quail drama. It's it's funny. There's so much arguing over such tiny little eggs. Let's see. Yeah, she's had the tag. I'm like, here, put this on your plate. Here's your registration. Put it in your car. I had to buy my second car because I got two kids. One works north, one works south. Um, so I'm making them pay their own bills now. They got to make their own car payment. They've got to make their own insurance payment. I figure if they're at work, they're staying out of trouble. I'm not stupid. I know that their friends can go and hang out with them up at work, but they're at work. So, what age do white quail start laying? So to me is A&M. Yep, and you'll see that a lot, Andrew. They should start laying at about 8 weeks. I know that right now with it being hot, some birds are not laying at 8 weeks. But yes, people still that A&M line. There and again, I know of one person in the United States that has a pure A&M line. I don't know of anybody else that does. So if you have that pure A&M line and you wanted to order whites from me and breed them, that would be fine. Because they're, again, the only way to determine whether or not it's a pure A&M line would be through genetic testing if Texas A&M still has the files. And I don't know. I haven't looked into it that much. In my opinion, it's more a matter of semantics. But they should start laying at about 8 weeks. With the heat, maybe 10, 12 weeks.
If any of them are local, they should buy some blue and gold.
Oh, and my daughter said if any of you guys are local, someone was here from Poto earlier. My daughter's selling blue and gold for school, and she wants to sell $3,000 worth because if she does, she gets to go to a national convention in Indianapolis this year. So she's trying to sell $3,000 worth of blue and gold. So if you're local, let me know. I'll hook you up with my daughter, and you can give her your money because she would love you. Let's see. When I sell a bird, it's theirs to do what they want, how they want. You don't need the credit. Once they create their own lines, then it's theirs. Yeah, and that's what I did. So when I first got my birds, I bought from Aaron in Louisiana, and then I bought from a gentleman in Texas who's no longer in business. I crossed those two lines, and then I bred mine. That was my line of birds. Well, since that time, obviously, I've gotten birds from Emily, and I've integrated Emily's birds into my flock, and it's still my line, right? Because it's still following my breed standard. It's still following my weight guidelines. It's still following all of that. But if all I had was Emily's birds, then I would say these are birds from Five Little Quail Homestead, right? I would say these are Emily's birds. She hatched them. She brought them to me. This is a pure line. But because I've integrated all of these birds that I've gotten from Aaron, from Emily, from Pigment and Plumes, from the dude in Texas, it's my line. Now, have I done anything fancy or majestic or any of that? No, I haven't done anything, crazy. It's just that all of the birds that go into my breeding program meet my standard. And again, with quail, there is no breed standard. There are some rules. 10 ounces by 10 weeks makes a jumbo type of rules, but there's no standard. And attempts at standardizing quail by the various groups or people or whatever the case have just met resistance and more or less fallen flat. You say you don't breed quail, you only hatch eggs. It's an addiction. I don't breed them either. I let them breed each other. Then I incubate the eggs. Don't you dare sell my Browns or Celadons or anyone else. I will sell them all. I will sell them all. No, I'm not selling any birds right now. I'm hatching everything I've got. I've got right now in my incubators, I've got around 1,100 eggs incubating. I think we'll find out when they hatch. But I've got a lot incubating right now because I definitely need to get the birds hatched, and I need to grow them out, and I need to be prepared for next year. And that's exactly what I'm working on. And you know, it's funny. So this is a cool story. I know some of you guys watch my long form videos, and in all reality, why you guys would want to look at me for 30, 45 minutes at a time still blows my mind. If you just turn it on in the background and listen to my videos, most of the time you'll get the information that you need. You don't necessarily have to watch. Sometimes I do show stuff. So recently I have had a couple of chicks that were shrink wrapped, and I helped the birds out, and I held them up to the screen, and I showed the bird, and I showed the membrane and all of that sort of stuff. So there are times where I show stuff. A lot of times it's just me kind of narrating my day. Um, which interestingly I narrate in my head, so I might as well narrate out loud so that you guys can hear what I'm thinking. But I don't know what my point was. I lost it. Oh, I do know what my point is. Anyway, when y'all come on these live streams, you guys a lot of times are getting like real time stuff, right? So I've been talking about the mortality of my birds, just lots and lots and like just be flat out. I lost 30 birds yesterday. Heat. Totally the heat. I didn't put this in my YouTube video. So y'all get like bonus. Y'all get like the behind the scenes. I actually did a couple of necropsies today and cut the birds open and looked at the insides and all of that. Insides looked good. The meat was a little bit pale because they were deceased. There was, no blood flow. They'd laid there for a while. But aside from the meat being a little bit pale, all of the organs looked good. Now, I didn't dig around and I didn't look at the lungs or anything like that. Again, limited blood flow, no telling how long those birds have been dead. So the organs, like the lungs, for example, are not necessarily going to be as bright and pink as they typically are. But I did the necropsies. Livers are looking good. Hearts are looking good. Breasts are looking good. Like totally the heat just wiping out my flock. But you guys get to hear like a lot of this live that a lot of people don't get to see, until those long form videos come out. That being said, I don't share everything in my live streams because I want you to watch my long form videos too. I don't make them for no reason. I do add some educational content in there. And a lot of times, sometimes there's one video, I think it released a couple of days ago, that said it was a sloppy multi-day video or a choppy multi-day video or something like that. Like 5 days in a row, I tried to film and I never could film more than maybe like 5 or 10 minutes at a time. And it turned out being like a 5-day spread that you guys got to see. And then last weekend, on top of that, was the rodeo. And I didn't post all of the rodeo videos online, but I did include all of the rodeo videos on the long form video. So you kind of, it's kind of the best of both worlds where you can just turn it on when you're driving and play it over your car speakers. You don't have to watch it. You can listen. But when you come in live, you're getting like the real time updates, right? So I'm posting videos complaining about the heat right now, but you're not probably even going to see those until, the end of August, like once the heat is almost over, hopefully that European model is correct, because if the European model is correct, then we're going to have temperatures down in like 14 or 15 degrees below normal by September, which will be great. Heat will wipe out an entire flock quick. My electric bill is something crazy. Keeping your birds cool, like over $500. I think I'm going to invest in a mini split for my barn. For real. I think I'm going to invest in a mini split next year. I was watching a a weather forecaster now. I'm about 4 hours north of Dallas, 4 hours north of the airport in Dallas. And last year, Dallas Fort Worth Airport clocked 15 days over 100 degrees. Now, the average for the year is, I think they said 20 to 25. So last year was a little bit cooler. This year so far, we've clocked 25 days in triple digits. And the meteorologist said he wouldn't be surprised if we clocked 40 days in triple digits. So twice as hot. This summer is twice as hot as the average summer. Just brutal heat. And then with the El Nino weather pattern, which that's part of why it's so hot right now, with the El Nino weather pattern, the jet stream is sitting up so high that cold fronts haven't been able to move this high pressure system out of the way. But when the El Nino system comes in, that jet stream is going to dip way low, and we're supposed to have a colder than average winter. So, ew, the mini split didn't help you? Dang. I got a buddy who does HVAC. Maybe I'll just have him. But see, you also get that Pacific breeze out there. Like, are y'all getting triple digits, Emily? Because I know it. State of Washington has had triple digits this year, but y'all should be, so close to the ocean. Y'all should have a bit of a sea breeze that helps keep things cool, I would think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Let's see. You installed the cheapest mini split you could find on Amazon for $300. Run it on solar like the rest of the homestead. Works great. Don't get a professional install. You can do it. Well, I did find like the air conditioner unit in my barn is fantastic. I may just get another window unit and stick it out in the barn and see how that does, because the one in my barn is actually doing really good. It was only 91 today. Man, I would love to have a 91 degree day. But I'm telling you, 32 degrees is better than 100 degrees all day long. These people who are like, I love summer, y'all better be outside soaking these triple digits up, because come wintertime, I'm going to be running around the yard in the snow barefoot in my underwear. I am going to enjoy every minute. I won't be filming that, though. But I am going to be enjoying every minute. Oh, what was the problem with my home AC? Good question. So for those of you who didn't know, I did get to spend 2 nights with no air conditioner. And I'm telling you, like, if you saw some of the screenshots I posted on Facebook, it was like 97 degrees at 10 o'clock at night. So it turns out that the air conditioner unit was just dirty. And the outside unit had overheated, and it had like a trip switch. So I had a buddy of mine come over, and we started doing the basic stuff, right? Changed out the thermostat. That didn't fix it. Changed out the contact switch. That didn't fix it. We were thinking about changing out the capacitor. And I said, you know what? Our first 2 things haven't worked. Before we go throwing more money at this, I've got a friend who does HVAC for a living. Let's have him come and diagnose it and see what's going on. So my buddy came out here, and little did I know, because you don't see this very often, but there was actually a kill switch on this machine, so that if it gets too hot, it'll trip that kill switch. And legitimately, all we had to do to reset it was mash that button. That was it. And then we went through and hosed off the unit, hosed off the coils and all that, so that the air could circulate a little bit better. And so now my air conditioner is working again, and it's great. No complaints whatsoever. So, all right. What else, gang? We've been going for an hour and a half tonight. This is a long live stream, and 30 of y'all still here. Bless your hearts. 67 in Pennsylvania. Man, I've got a guy, Robert, in Pennsylvania who's like, man, when are you going to ship those eggs? Man, when are you going to ship those eggs? I wish it was 67, man. I'd be shipping eggs. My birds would be laying. They'd be happy. They wouldn't be dying. But also my shipping season would be a lot shorter if I lived in Pennsylvania because I'd have to stop shipping in October and I wouldn't be able to resume shipping until May. I think I told you this before, Kevin. I was actually a finalist for an EMS director position at Cranberry Township. Or I actually wasn't a finalist. I got an email from them and was told that they would have loved to have had me there for an interview, but I'd missed like the cutoff date, like the application cutoff date. But basically they said, you're what we're looking for, but you missed the cutoff date. So anyway, I almost ended up in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. That being said, I've never been to Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh is my favorite baseball team. Love me some Pirates. So anything else, guys? Any more questions? We've been going at it for a while. I'm good. Like, I got my coffee. I'm in a good mood. We can keep going for a little bit, but if y'all don't have any more questions, I'll go ahead and call it a night. John, have a good evening, sir. Appreciate you joining in. Let me know when you're coming back to another poultry swap. Olan, man, I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate your comments on all the videos and stuff like that too. It means a lot to me. I'm really working hard to grow this YouTube channel. Like, I don't want to be an influencer, if that makes any sense. But I do want to grow the YouTube channel because you can generate, I know that you get these midstream ads and stuff like that. It's kind of frustrating during the live stream, but I get paid for those ads. So it is a way for me to generate a little bit of extra income for the homestead. It's also a way for me to continue to inform and educate and connect with you guys. Like, I really like being able to talk to y'all on here. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you heard me say it earlier today, I'm sitting here with, 30 of my closest friends. And I really feel that way. I really do. I love that we can sit here and just kind of bull jive. And, Jordan asked me about my air conditioner, and people asking about the kids and how are the kids doing and how's the rodeos going and stuff like that. And I enjoy that too, because I love quail, but there's a lot more to my life than quail. So being able to have those conversations, and having someone to share with, it's great. I don't have a lot of adult interaction here at home. Obviously, Carrie and I are seeing each other, and I talk to her every day and stuff like that. But she's got kids, she's got a house, she's got a family, she's got a life. So I don't even get to see her every day. So it's nice being able to log on and talk to you guys and hear from y'all. And I like, as much as I like sharing, I also like hearing how things are going with you guys. It's just enjoyable. Emily's had some kids with some health problems, and Elijah was in and out of the hospital for a while. So I pray for Emily and her family and her kids and her husband when he's picking up slack on the farm. And so I enjoy, I like that, and when Emily and I get to talk, and we've talked on the phone a few times, I mean, we just talk, like old buddies. It's not like some type of weird business conversation. You know, we get on the phone and we just kind of bull jive and talk about life sometimes. And Marvin, I don't know if Marvin's still here. Talk to Marvin 2, 3 times a week. He picks up the phone. We talk. My pal Luke Monkey Bone, you see him in here. He called me, I don't know, a week or two ago, and we ended up talking for almost an hour. You know, just which was great actually, because yes, he's doing quail, but he's doing it totally different than I am. He's urban homesteader in California, and I'm, quail farming in Oklahoma. So, we get to have those kind of conversations, and I truly enjoy that. Uh, Carrie texts me. She says, "Did you tell him I got stung by a wasp? The wasp are coming inside. It's too hot out there." She got stung. She was laying in bed trying to sleep, got stung on the arm. I posted a video a while back. So this true story, true story. So there's a hole in the old barn. Now you have to walk through the old barn to get out to the chicken pens. There's a hole in the outside door. I didn't know it, but there were wasps in that hole. so she's walking out to feed one day, goes to close the door. A wasp comes out of that hole, stings her right square on the butt. I mean, yeah. so so now here's the bad part. Like, as if getting stung by a wasp isn't bad enough. She's a dental assistant, and so she has to sit all day and look. So it took forever for that bite on her bottom to heal up because she'd gotten stung. Well, a couple of days later, maybe couple of weeks later, uh, I'm filming a video, and you can actually see her. She does like this duck and bob and weave. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "It's trying to sting me." And she said, "I'm traumatized." So I think I actually made that the cover photo for that particular video that said, "I'm traumatized." And then tonight she's laying in bed trying to go to sleep, got to get the kids up for work in the morning or for school in the morning. And she and she got stung by a wasp just laying in bed trying to go to sleep. So she asked if I told you she was traumatized. Yeah. So now you know. There's the whole story. It all started with a wasp stinging her on the butt. So there's that. Let's see. You enjoyed listening. Have a good evening. Hey, appreciate you coming. True right. Thank you very much. I have to lean in to read these sometimes because I got mine are bifocal, so trying to figure out exactly where they bifocal. Olan, the next swap is this Saturday. This Saturday. Emily Marvin is a great guy. He is a great guy. I did get his hat in the mail to him, by the way. So, oh, listen, yeah, I want y'all to laugh. I want y'all to laugh. Let me text her back. I told them how you got stung on the butt. So, anyway, laugh away because it was actually funny. And then if you want to laugh again, go back to the video where it says she was traumatized, and she's so funny. There was another video. So it was one of the videos where, like, it was the video where like all of the chickens died, and I'm walking out and I'm talking and hold my little selfie stick and blah da 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 da, Judge Quail, blah blah blah, chickens and farming, blah blah blah, homestead, homestead, homestead. And in the background, you can hear her go, "Oh, there's a dead one. Oh, there's another one. Well, 2, 3, 4. What the hell?" And it's like I ended the video because I'm trying not to get her talking like that on my channel. And then I look and I'm like, "Oh, well, that ended that video." And then we were able to pick up and film the next video. So it was actually good for content. So So there's actually been a couple of times when it's pretty funny, but she doesn't like being on the video. She's like, leave me out of it. I just want to be background noise. I don't want to be famous. I don't want any of this. I don't want any of that. I told her, I was like, hey, it makes for good content, you know. Put the kid, you know, I like showing the kids at the rodeo. It makes for good content. Like nobody wants to stare at a balding middle-aged man for, 45 minutes at a time. Let me put somebody else on camera. So anyway, what else, guys? We've gone. We listen. It's an hour and 45 minutes. Let's just make it 2 hours. Let's just keep going for a little bit. What else is going on? What do y'all have on your mind? What are your plans for tomorrow? You know what my plans are for tomorrow? Now, don't tell the kids this. I actually went and picked up a bag of snacks today, and I'm gonna get up and do what I have to do first thing in the morning, and I'm gonna lay in bed and eat snacks all day. That's it. Tomorrow is Netflix and chill. I am doing nothing. She said, no, that's embarrassing. Well, I'm glad you listen. The one video where I think the image says she was traumatized. I don't know what the headline was. I don't remember. I don't remember what the title was. Anyway, it's funny. It's a good one. There's a couple of really good videos. 4:45 a.m. bus route tomorrow, Victoria. And it's at what time is it? You're an hour ahead of me. It's 10 till 10. It's 10 till 11. You're gonna have to drive with one eye tomorrow to focus if you only get 4 hours of sleep. But what if you're a bald middle-aged man? Listen, Jordan, that's why we're friends. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. That's basically the gist of the conversation. Once you hit my age, you're still younger than me, though. I traded some quail and some chicken eggs for a Showtime rotisserie. Heck yeah, good deal. Have you already eaten it? Because I like eating chicken. Actually, I've got like 4 chicken out in the freezer. I need to get them out and defrost them. And I made broth. I made a lot of broth the last time I had chicken. Ugh, I don't know if y'all saw that video. I made the Cajun spicy one, and it was salty, so I had to dilute it a lot. But once I diluted it, it was great, and it made good broth. So good night, Victoria. Thanks for joining me. That sounds like a great day. You've got somebody picking up 15 birds. You're sorting more out. I'm actually going to go and water my birds after the live stream so that I don't have to go out there and water them in first thing in the morning because I don't want to. I'll wait until the afternoon once the kids are about out of school, and then I'll hide all the snacks and go out and work on the farm. And I'll be like, I've been out here all day long, slaving away, trying to provide for you children. So no rodeos this weekend. There was supposed to be a play day on Saturday, but they actually have canceled it because of the heat, which I'm not upset about. Honestly, I think we should take July and August off. I think our rodeo season should be April, May, June, September, October, because July and August here are just miserable. And the thing, like, June is a great month here. June is beautiful, highs in the upper 80s, sunshine, not a lot of rain, but good night. The problem is April and May we get a lot of storms, so we've had to cancel more than one rodeo because the arena's flooded. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not. Oh, you haven't, because I haven't shared the videos yet. You gotta see the videos when it comes out. Maddie took home her very first check in barrel racing. Took home her very first check and took home 2 first place checks for goat tying. So it was incredible weekend. McKinley took home first place in saddle bronc on Friday. Saturday she got tossed. I mean, just pow, she hit and off she went. And Grandma was texting her, I wish you wouldn't do that. And Granddad was texting me, you better make her stop that. I'm like, I ain't even paying for it. She wants to do it, she can do it, but she's paying for it, and she does. She wants to get a saddle, and she wants to saddle bronc, and she's new. She's only ridden 3 times, but she's ridden twice and gotten a buckle, or gotten a check. Excuse me. Your farmhand will feed and water your birds for you. Sorting is my only task. Good. And I'll be honest, sorting is this. Let's talk about sorting birds for a minute. It is very hard to do one person. If you've got 2 people sorting birds, super easy. Very quick, very efficient, very effective. If you've got one person and you've got to take these birds and weigh them and move them to this pen, and take these birds and weigh them and move them to that pen, and take these birds and move them into this pen, and then take these chicks out of this incubator and move them into that pen. Hugely time consuming, especially when there's 50 or 100 birds at a time that you've got to sort and weigh. You get 2 people, it doesn't just cut the time in half, it cuts it down to like a quarter of the time, because like one in those GQF brooders that I have, I can't hardly get my hand all the way to the back of the cage because it's like 3 feet long. So, but if you've got one person up front and one person in the back, you can grab those chicks and take them and sort them and weigh them really quick. And like when you're weighing, you're like 10 ounces, not 10 ounces, 10 ounces, not 10 ounces, 10 ounces, not 10 ounces, 10 ounces, not. And as you're sorting them out, you just have somebody putting them in the cages. When you're doing it by yourself, you've got to have one cage for birds that make weight, one cage for birds that don't make weight. And then you've got to take each individual cage and put them up. And then you've got to take the next cage and put them up. And then you've got to bring the cages back. And then you got to go and grab 2 birds and weigh them, and grab 2 birds and weigh them. Whereas if you have somebody grabbing the birds and you're sorting them, so much faster. But weighing and sorting birds by yourself is just, it's hard. In fact, I did a video on weighing and sorting birds last week, and that's been like one of my top performing videos, which, again, I'm no YouTube sensation, right? I'm just some dude, but it was one of my most viewed videos. It was great. All right, let's see. Emily says, I've got lots of baskets, and you sort male and female first, then weigh each. Excess males go into a cage for customers. Best males get paired with best females. Yep. So what I'll do is I will typically, like, especially on my feather sexable, I'll go ahead and have them separated. Like when I take them out of the brooders and put them in the grow out cages, I try to sort them by male and female. Obviously, at 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're not necessarily 100% accurate. But that way they're already sort of sorted. And then I just have to weigh all the females, weigh all the males at 8 weeks. So, but I try to sort them because I don't like, so the males will get frisky at about 4 or 5 weeks. They'll have a hard time putting on weight because they're chasing the hens. The hens will have a hard time putting on weight because they're running from the males. So if you can keep them separate at like 3 weeks, again, on the feather sexable ones, you can't do that with your whites. You can't do that with blacks or ambers or whatever, the non-feather sexable ones. But if you can separate them based off color by feather pattern at 3-4 weeks, my opinion, I haven't done any scientific type of research on it, but I feel like the feather sexable ones put on more weight if you keep males with males and females with females. Then when I go to weigh them, it's a little bit easier. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll just kind of weigh them all together. You know, the males that don't make weight go into a cull pen or a customer pen, and the males that do make weight go in to the breeding cage. Or I have a keeper pen that I keep the extra roosters that have made weight, and that way, if I have a rooster die, I have a replacement ready for it. So that's kind of how I do it. But I do like, because two out of the three breeds that I produce are feather sexable, so it's a little bit easier for me in that regard. Um, and I know we're closing in on 2 hours, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Throw another topic out there. Got a friend of mine uh, who was, let's see, that last hatch of grow outs was a big mixed hatch from Ghidros. Yep. So they can be hard to. If it was a mixed batch, then you got what you got. I saw that sale he was doing, but it was already too hot for him to ship any into me. So wasn't a chance I was going to take. For those of you who might be, I think it was Knotted Rush. I don't. Are you still here? Knotted Rush. Let me see. Love Genetics. Got the jumbo with the white starting out. Okay, yeah, Knotted Rush. This was something you talked to about how I started, how you should start. One of my buddies was dating a girl, and Monkey Bone, buddy, I was talking about you already in this podcast. I sure was. You're gonna have to go back, watch the whole thing. It's only 2 hours. You got plenty of time. But one of my buddies was talking to me, and he was dating this girl, and she's like, I want this chicken, and 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 I want this chicken. And he was telling me, he's like, dude, we've got so many breeds of chicken that I'm having a hard time like establishing any lines, because we're hatching a few of these and a few of these and a few of these, but we're just we're not hatching enough of anything for it to be a line of birds. Basically I'm hatching the replacements for the ones that already exist, or I'm hatching 6 of this, I'm getting a 50% hatch rate, 2 of them are roosters. He's like, I'm struggling here. Here is my advice to anybody started out. Start small. Start with one breed. Okay. And quite frankly, start with Jumbo Brown. Unless you just absolutely hate Jumbo Brown and you don't want to do meat and eggs. Then start with whatever you like. But if you're interested in growing a business and you're interested in selling eggs and pickling eggs and selling birds for meat, Jumbo Brown is going to be the easiest. They're the most widely available birds. They're by and large the largest. They're very hardy. They lay great sized eggs. Or start with Jumbo Egyptians. Either way, either one of those birds is a large bird, produces great eggs, feather sexable. Easy to start with. Grow out that line, then move on to your next line. So once you've got an entire breeder cage full of browns, now move on to the Egyptians, then move on to the whites, then move on to the blacks, then move on to the pansy, then move on to whatever you want to do, right? I have found that for me, right now, the 3 lines that I have, the brown, the Egyptian, and the white, that's all I need. I've also got a party box, I've also got a mystery box, and I've also got a jumbo mix. Okay, so with my 3 birds, brown, white, and Egyptian, I've been able to create 6 different SKUs, for lack of a better term. So that is my advice. take it for what it's worth. But in my experience, that would be the best. Emily, how many breeds do you have right now, or colors do you have? It's too hot to buy it. Yeah. Well, it's not too hot to buy, but it's definitely too hot to ship. I would encourage you all to place an order on my website tonight, but it's going to be a while. I can tell you that. Anyway, Luke, I was telling them about how you and I ended up on the phone one night, talked for like an hour, and we were kind of discussing, the nuances between like urban homesteading in your environment versus quail farming in my environment and things like that. Talking about how I've gotten to know a lot of you guys and chit chat with you from time to time, either on phone or email or whatever. You happen to be one of the guys that I thought about. So I was talking about you earlier. All good things. Yeah, it was. So anyway, I mentioned that. Emily and I talk on the phone too. Marvin and I talk on the phone too. Victoria and I text back and forth quite a bit. I mean, and those are just the names I see on my screen right now. Jordan, talk to Jordan. So tell you a funny story about Jordan. Jordan just celebrated a birthday a week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. Anyway, his wife sent me a message and said, "Hey, I'm putting something special together for Jordan's birthday. Would you send me a video? Basically, a happy birthday message for Jordan." I'm like, "Heck yeah, Jordan's my homeboy." I sent him a message. I forgot to send her the video. So I called Jordan up to tell him happy birthday and almost spilled the beans. But as it turns out, they weren't celebrating his birthday till the weekend, so his wife hadn't sent him the video yet. So I was able to end up recording like a little video message wishing him a happy birthday, and he was able to see it, and that was cool. So kind of funny. You earned shade. So, all right. Well, listen, guys, this has been a fantastic live stream. It's been over 2 hours. This may be the longest live stream we've done. I appreciate y'all. I love you. If you need anything, holler. Otherwise, keep an eye out for these long form videos. I keep cranking them out. And if y'all give these videos thumbs up, share them on your social media pages, that type of thing, that's great. It helps keep business coming. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. Jeff, thank you. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. I've been doing a lot of filming, lots of content. So, I would love it if you guys would just continue to support me, my work, my channel, and I'll continue doing these live streams and sharing as much information as I can with you. I love farming. I love homesteading, and I want to see you guys succeed just as much as I want to succeed myself. So God bless you guys. We'll see you next time.